So, good afternoon. It has been a very exciting week, I have to say, waiting for the postman to come and deliver me parcels like Santa Claus. He's been very good. He's given me 5 new fragrances. Now, when I say new, these aren't new fragrances, they're not new releases. To be honest with you, I've owned a lot of these fragrances before as well. 4 of the 5 I have, to be exact. And yeah, I absolutely love them. But it's been a long time since I've had some of them as well, so it'd be interesting to see over time if my nose had changed. Anyway, the purpose of today, you would have just seen there was a screenshot and it was talking about the benefits of 45 minutes of walking. Now, you're seeing this when I've done all my exercise today. I'm up to 33,000 steps, so I've certainly done more than 45 minutes walking. However, I thought during that 45-minute workout, during that walk to the gym, I would do like a 2 or 3 minute review or pros and cons of the sprays that I've got. So I sprayed them all on me. I thought I'd do some pros and cons. So yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get into them. I'm going to go one by one. And yeah, I did it on the spot with no planning as well. So yeah, I hope you'll enjoy this. Before we do that, let's go through each one. I'll give a bit of a note breakdown. I've got it on the screen here. And yeah, just some presentation of the bottles before I talk about the spray itself. Okay, so let's get on with the first one today. Bentley for Men Intense. Now, those of you that are watching fragrance videos probably know this one really well anyway. But I love this fragrance. But let's just talk about the sort of presentation. I like the bottle. I think a lot of the car fragrances have very nice bottles. If you've ever had any Bentley for Men fragrances, they're all very uniform. They all are in this same sort of bottle style. So yeah, I like the fact they keep it consistent. And yeah, I just think it looks really classy. Now, in terms of a note breakdown, as I said, I don't look too much into this because I just kind of think, what can I actually smell? And it's just this sweet, boozy scent. But this is what ChatGPT has told me. Bentley for Men Intense is a warm, spicy, and boozy fragrance known for its bold and masculine profile. The top notes are black pepper, which gives it a slightly spiciness. It says bay leaf and bergamot. I don't get either of them, by the way, at all. It says it's very subtle. I don't notice it at all. I'd say the heart is where you notice it, though. The rum. Rich, boozy, and slightly sweet. Maybe get a bit of cinnamon, clary sage, and geranium. Don't get the floral notes, again, either. And then in the dry down, leather, benzoin, incense, cedarwood, and patchouli. I'd probably say the cedarwood and the benzoin there gives it that sweet sort of vanilla dry down, but it's all about sort of booziness, and it really, really is lovely. There's a sort of sparklingness to it. So it's like a sparkling boozy smell. Absolutely love it. Really hard though. When you'll see now, 2 to 3 minutes, no script, walking, crossing roads. How well can I go through the pros and cons of this? So yeah, here you go. This is my sort of pros and cons of Bentley for Men Intense, if anyone is considering buying it. I want to apologise if I've got a load of chocolate around my mouth and in my teeth. I'm just eating a pack of biscuits. But anyway, Bentley for Men Intense, pros and cons. So I've got it sprayed on my arm. And yeah, I think the biggest compliment I can give it is the price. Under £30, always has been ever since I've had it. And that's, for at least 10 years now, I've sort of owned this fragrance. I think this is my 5th bottle of it. And I don't think there's a better value for money fragrance out there in terms of for the scent. This scent could be worth £80-90, and I still think it'd be worth it. It's basically a really boozy rum. It's very sweet, sort of wood smell, extremely masculine, but it's not old school. It's not something that I'd say a younger person particularly choose to wear. But when I've had younger people compliment it. I'll give you a story. When I used to work in a primary school, the school caretaker said, "Well, what's that? That's really nice." I said, "Oh, it's Bentley for Men Intense." A few months later, he said his wife bought him it for his birthday because she never knows what to buy, and that was something he really wanted. My brother's owned it loads of times as well. He had people in his job that used to mention how nice it was and ask what it was, and they wanted to buy it for their son, so it is a real compliment getter, that's for sure. It's certainly one you can dress up. Certainly one, if you go for a date night or a meal out or an interview, it's going to leave a lasting impression on the person, that's for sure. In terms of downsides, again, I'd say the performance is great. That's the other thing I just wanted to add. Performance is really good. I'd say the downside is it's not versatile. So if you wanted just one fragrance that could just do it all, I don't think this does it, because you wouldn't wear this to the gym. It's not a summer fragrance. It's not a real casual, cozy fragrance. You'd want to sit under a blanket and have that sprayed over you. So you'd probably want to buy another one, a more summery one, as an alternative. If you want to smell different, again, not a lot of the average people who don't have the same interest fragrances would know this one, but in the fragrance community, this is a very well-known fragrance. So yeah, that's the only thing I would say, is it's not particularly
a big secret anymore. And if anyone does quite like those more unique ones, it's not particularly that. But and also, of course, you may not like boozy scents. I love them, but if you don't like that boozy scent, if you don't want to, it doesn't to me smell like you've been out drinking or anything like that. So don't think of it like that. But yeah, it's one of those. If you love boozy scents, you'll love this. Great value for money, super scent, compliment getter. But yeah, lacks maybe that versatility that someone may want. And yeah, it just may not be for everyone, but I love it. I think it's a fantastic fragrance. And if you can get it for under £30, always available. It's a great buy.
Okay, so the next one I reviewed, I kind of spoke about this one the other week, even though it was my brother who had it as an aftershave splash. Calvin Klein Obsession for Men. Now, this is a 1986 fragrance according to ChatGPT, and I love this. This is one of the first fragrances I own. What I like, this is a 200ml bottle, by the way. I like that you can mainly get it in 125ml. I think you can get a 75ml as well. But yeah, I like the sort of extra juice that you get with this one. I think the presentation is lovely. I actually really like the bottle. Simple, nothing special. It looks a little bit old school, but yeah, and it's a very unique smell. So anyway, let's have a look at the note breakdown of what ChatGPT says. So they call it a classic oriental woody fragrance, known for its spicy, warm and sensual character. Top note, cinnamon, gives it the warm, sweet spice. I completely agree. Mandarin orange? Maybe. Lime, bergamot, grapefruit, coriander, lavender. What you find with a lot of these old school fragrances, by the way, they have loads of notes, absolutely loads. Don't know how they fit them all in. Then heart notes, nutmeg, maybe get that. Carnation, myrrh, definitely don't get the pine, sage, rosewood. And then in the bottom here, amber, sandalwood, definitely a bit of sandalwood. Musk, I get that. Vanilla, vetiver, patchouli. I do kind of get it. It is definitely spicy and slightly sweet, but there is that soapiness to it. There is a little bit of soapiness, which means you can kind of put it off on a summer evening. It's not a real powerhouse like some of those as well. So those old school fragrances tend to be really harsh, which means they're not normally suited to summer. But yeah, I think this one you can pull off, but it's more of a transition season one. But anyway, how did I get on trying to review it on my walk today? So here you go. Here is my review for anyone that's considering buying Calvin Klein Obsession for Men.
Again, I've owned this one a few times, and I like the fact it comes in 125ml bottles, 200ml bottles. You get a little bit of extra juice. It's a scent that I recognise. I obviously know it, and I don't think there's anything else out on the market that smells like it. It's an old school fragrance. I think it came out in the 1980s. I believe amber and cinnamon tend to be the strongest note to this. It's not too in your face, which I really like. I've said this before. A lot of old school fragrances can be quite harsh, really in your face, strong. Like notice me. This isn't. This is quite subtle. I think it's best in the sort of transition seasons, so sort of spring and fall. I think it's more suited to those colder weathers because it's not, it's not citrusy or anything like that. It's not fresh. But yeah, where it doesn't project really strong, you could certainly wear it on like a summer evening. And yeah, it's certainly a compliment getter. I've worn it on runs before. And people have said, well, I remember a lady saying it was really nice, and someone said, oh, that's Harry's spray, I can tell. Wore it at uni a lot, so, 19, 20, 21 years old. I didn't dislike it then. I don't think it's, I don't think it's really modern. I think for anyone who's getting into fragrances, again, you probably wouldn't have it as a, do all fragrances or gym scent or anything like that. But again, under £30 for a fragrance that I don't smell many people wearing it anymore, that's for sure. Only thing I would say, I do feel like, again, it's not going to really cut through the cold in the winter. So if you wanted it as that sort of winter scent, it's not really going to do that. Again, I absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic. But I do feel like most people now are leaning towards those sort of caramel fragrances, and it's certainly not that. I think it's a compliment getter. I think, it will get compliments. However, I can appreciate that it's probably not going to be top of everyone's list these days. I don't think it's dated, but I do know that a lot of people would find it a little bit different. That being said, if anyone saw my video a few weeks ago, apparently it was used to lure a killer tiger, I think, in India. If you Google Calvin Klein Obsession tiger into Google, you'll find a very funny story. But yeah, I've had compliments on it. You could certainly dress it up. Just think for maybe those under 20-year-olds who are just getting into fragrances, you're probably going to want those more sort of sweet and modern scents. But I certainly think it's a great addition to anyone's collection. You can get it for under £30, go for it.
Okay, so the next one was my clone fragrance I bought, and I've had this about 4 times. It comes in a tin, Cuba Prestige, or Prestige Classic actually, I should say. Now this is a clone of Amen, Thierry Mugler's Amen, which is an old school fragrance as well. But yeah, I really like this. I like the amount of stuff that comes with the packaging. So, yeah, this is, if anyone smelled Amen, it is that smell. It's a much more synthetic one, but it certainly is trying to copy that. So let's have a little look at the notes for this one and what ChatGPT says. So it's a sweet, spicy and woody character. Top notes, bergamot, grapefruit and pepper. I don't get any of them, to be honest with you, at all. And then the heart notes, lavender, cardamom, geranium. Not sure I really get that either, to be honest with you. And then it's amber, cedarwood, patchouli and musk. I think it's very much just this, I always say it's like a caramel sort of chocolate smell with this sort of milkiness in the background. That's what it smells like to me. If anyone smelled Amen, it's not the most natural smelling anyway, so I didn't really mind that this is overly synthetic. But yeah, here are my thoughts of Cuba Prestige Classic. Is it worth buying? What are the pros and cons? Time to find out.
So, okay. Now this is a clone of Thierry Mugler's Amen. You can get it for around £8 to £10. It's 90ml. I really like the presentation. I know some people have said they don't like it, the box or the tin, and you've got to pull this other bit off. And some people don't think the atomizer is very good, the shape of the bottle. It's fine by me. Its performance is incredible in the opening. It is super strong. I remember wearing this one. I sprayed it on the lunch break, sitting in my car, sprayed sort of 10 of it on the top. And when I was walking back over to do my sports coaching, people outside were like, I could smell you over here. And it was literally the other side of the road. Only thing I would say is it doesn't particularly last that long. It's really strong for about an hour or two, and then it disappears. But if you've got the original Amen, and you take this with you, so it's essentially a top-up of that. You don't have to take the original then. You can throw it in your car. It does everything you want it to do in terms of just keeping that scent going. Now, does it smell as good as the original or the actual fragrance of Amen? No. It's very synthetic. Some people are going to find this far too synthetic, far too harsh for themselves. And I do also get that as well. It's this very, if anyone hadn't smelled that sort of original Amen smell, it's kind of like I always find it's like a milky sort of chocolate scent with a bit of caramel. And I find the original quite synthetic as well, but this is super synthetic, I must admit. But it will give you that scent profile. And for me, I haven't bought the original since because this just does enough for me. So the fact I get an £8 to £10 clone that's readily available online, that's fine by me. You wouldn't wear this in the summer. I don't think a young person would wear it again, to be honest with you. It's certainly not a dress-up fragrance in my opinion. It's too synthetic to be a dress-up. And as I said, it's not summery at all. But if you want that Amen vibe, this is a fantastic clone, and it will certainly give you that instant thing of that's Amen. So in that sense, it's great. Just be aware it's synthetic, but you can get 4 or 5 bottles of this, and you're laughing, aren't you? There's no real risk to it. I've had compliments on it, as I said, crossing roads. People have noticed it outside, and yeah, I absolutely love it. But yeah, just be aware it's synthetic. Don't like the fact it's 90ml either. You should always have it in 100ml. Saving money, I feel, doing that, but yeah, it's still cheap.
Okay, so the fourth one, and this is one I actually have never owned before. Fragrance World's Double Espresso. Now this is part of their coffee collection. I think this presentation's brilliant. It reminds me of a Tom Ford fragrance. A lot of the Tom Ford sort of bottles are a little bit like this. And it's just really well stuck in this base as well. But yeah, Double Espresso. Now this is a really, really strong coffee fragrance. That is it. It just smells like coffee. So I haven't actually put the note breakdown here. Let's get it up quickly. Right, here we go. So the top note is espresso coffee. Heart notes, benzoin resins, definitely quite resinous. Cassia, which I think is cinnamon, off the top of my head. Vetiver and patchouli are the base notes. I'll be honest with you, it just smells of coffee. You go to a coffee shop, that's what it is. But yeah, this is about the presentation anyway. So yeah, I really like the lid on this as well. It's a heavy lid, really heavy. You wouldn't want to throw that at someone's head, that's for sure. Yeah, it just looks really classy. I just think it's a really classy scent. So yeah, let's give you my pros and cons for this one on my walk today. So what did I think, and is it worth buying this one?
Okay, so the next one is Fragrance World Double Espresso. So a coffee scent. Wow, okay, so yeah, this is one of the most unique scents. I'm going to start with the pros. Imagine walking into Costa Coffee or Starbucks or anything like that. You go in, you get that real waft of coffee, don't you? It's lovely. I love that scent. This is by far the most realistic coffee scent I've ever smelled. Again, you can get it for around £30 or under. I got it on sale for around £20 for 100ml. I love the presentation of the bottle. And if you're a coffee lover, if you love the scent of just pure coffee, that is all this is to me. It's, you know, you can talk about other notes that are in it and, you know, fragrance breakdown of all the scent. This is just coffee, and it doesn't particularly change. It's strong. Performance-wise, it is strong. I put it on yesterday, and I couldn't really smell it on me because obviously after 20 minutes or so, you just kind of become a bit, you know, you just don't recognise it on yourself. But everyone in the house, when I put it on, was like, I can really smell that coffee smell. My dad thought it was burnt toast, actually. And then my mum said, oh no, I think that's how his spray's just got. So it is super strong. It will project, it will perform, it will fill a room. And again, who doesn't like the smell of coffee? Now, the downside to that, this is so realistic. And other coffee scents tend to have another note with them, so like a rose note or something. Where this is just flat out strong black coffee, someone might think you've almost just bathed in coffee. It's that realistic. It's that much just a coffee scent. So I think for a lot of people, it might almost be misinterpreted as it's not actually a fragrance. You've just maybe spilled a load of coffee on you. And for me, I don't get that. I love it as it is, and that's why I bought it, because it fascinates me how realistic it is. But I've also had just pure vanilla scents before, and people just say, oh, you smell of vanilla. And I don't know if I just want to smell particularly of just one note. Sometimes you like that complexity to kind of draw people in and recognise that it's you've got a nice fragrance on. What are those notes that I'm smelling? So yeah, this you don't have to think about. You know exactly what it is, but it doesn't smell synthetic. I've never smelled anything so realistic. So if you love coffee and you're happy just to smell of pure coffee, go for it. This is the best I've ever smelled in terms of that. And yeah, I think I'm going to get confidence. I haven't worn it enough yet to obviously say I've got confidence, but when I put it on in the house, it certainly got notice, and it will leave a trail, and it will fill a room. So yeah, it's not for the summer months, and certainly not a gym workout one, but a winter scent. Go for it. Love it. I really do like it.
And the last one, Bentley Infinite Intense. This is probably the one that, well, certainly out of all the Bentley phrases, people don't really talk about this one at all. Now, I owned this years ago, again, about 7-8 years ago, and I obviously didn't own Terre d'Hermes at the time. Now, I recently looked at some reviews of this just before it came, because I used to think it smelled like cucumbers, which you'll hear me say in a minute. But this definitely does have a Terre d'Hermes vibe, certainly that peppery note. So if we look at the note breakdown, black pepper, lavender, and violet leaf, and it's definitely more green. Terre d'Hermes more of an orangey smell. This is more of a green smell, and I think it's the violet leaf and the black pepper. Heart notes, geranium, and spices. I don't really get that. It's definitely got a spiciness to it, though. I completely agree with that, but I don't know. I don't think it gives it a warm feel, that's for sure. I think it's more of an office wear scent, really. And then base notes, cedarwood, patchouli, moss. Probably does give that greenness, and vetiver. And yeah, I just think it's certainly not Terre d'Hermes. It's like the green version of Terre d'Hermes. And it's really nice. Again, I really like the bottle. Not a huge fan of this lid, though. It's not the easiest to get on and off, so it doesn't look great when you do it. But yeah, let's give you my thoughts, the pros and cons of Bentley Infinite Intense, and if it's worth buying.
Okay, now I had this years ago, again, it's about 7 years ago, and at the time I thought it smelled like cucumbers, and that's not a compliment to it. I thought it was a little bit grown up for me. I was about 21 at the time. Just wasn't overly sure about it. It felt an older person scent. It is probably an older person scent, to be honest with you. And I watched some videos lately, and people were saying it's a bit like Terre d'Hermes. And obviously I've got Terre d'Hermes, and that's kind of like this peppery, orange scent, a dirty orange, I think people have described it. And that has always been my most complimented phrase. I've had people message me asking what that is. Now this is the pepper in this that definitely like Hermes, but it's not an orangey smell. It's more like I think it's the violet leaf in it. It's more like a green spicy smell. This is really nice. This is definitely office friendly. This is kind of your young 30-year-old new father, new dad sort of scent, I think. It's quite formal. I would say it's certainly formal, but you could definitely wear it as a casual wear, but you wouldn't wear it running or anything like that because it's definitely that pepper note is quite strong. I really like it. As I said, it's extremely masculine. It's signature scent worthy. It's not going to cut through the cold, I wouldn't say. And again, I wouldn't wear it in high heat. So if it's more of those transition seasons, but yeah, definitely in an air-conditioned office, you wear a suit or anything like that, it's great. And I think value for money, again, under £30, pretty available online. Can't go wrong. I don't really know what else I can say. It's so hard to say things on the spot with this. I would say, if you don't want to spend a lot of money on like a dead Hermes, this will give you that kind of vibe for half the price. You get it for £30, 100ml. Don't have a lot of variety, and I think it's only in literally 100ml, which might be a problem for some people. Some people don't like those big bottle sizes. But yeah, it's for me, that's fine. I like the big bottle sizes. I've had compliments on it before. I don't think this is a big compliment again. I wouldn't buy this for compliments. I wouldn't reach for it for compliments either. No. But when I was in a reception job, I worked with mainly women because it tends to be women in reception jobs. 5 of them all said, "Oh, it smells really nice over here." And it was probably the first spray I ever really got a proper compliment on. And everyone was like, "Oh, that is nice. You smell really nice." But yeah, it's not youthful. It's more formal, but it's definitely signature scent worthy. But yeah, although it's quite fresh, spicy, it's not versatile for things like the gym. So again, you'd probably want to buy another fragrance on top to get that do it all sort of job. So yeah, other than that though, again, I bought it. I think it's the 3rd time I've owned it. I bought it again, so it must be doing something right.
There we are. So it is so hard, as I said, to try and talk about fragrances on the move, no script, and yeah, crossing roads and people around and cars and all those noises. But it's really good. It's a great way if anyone loves sort of trying to keep active at the same time, trying to keep your mind occupied. If you just need something to keep your mind busy, it's great. Just film yourself talking about fragrances for a few minutes. It's amazing. You suddenly like, well, I'm already at the gym. So which one would I recommend if I had to pick one of them? Probably Bentley for Men Intense, just purely because I think the scent is the nicest out of all of them. That is so nice. However, I think the reason I've bought them all and the reason I've owned them more than once, other than the coffee one, because they all do a different job for me and they all are fantastic in their own right. They are all more essentially winter scents. Probably the one that's most suited to maybe a hotter day is maybe Bentley Infinite Intense, but I certainly don't think it's really hot weather. I think it's just one that maybe, because it's transition season, a little bit like Obsession really, they're more suited to most of the year. But again, they're not a do-it-all. They're not gym fragrances or anything like that. But if you're going purely on scent and compliments, which most people are, this is the standout for me. But if you don't like a boozy scent, I would probably say, to be honest with you, this one is so unique. It is so unique. Essentially, I've just sold you all of them, haven't I? Again, I've just said they're all great. I think they all are fantastic fragrances. If you want a budget one, get that. If you want a scent, get that. Uniqueness, this. Probably the most versatile of these two. So again, they're all great fragrances. Other than, well, no, actually saying that, they're all around £30 or under. I think that's an absolute steal. So if you can get any of these, yeah, I think you're certainly onto something here. If you do try them, please let me know. Please comment. I'd love to hear what you think of them as well. And just one more thing as well. One more thing. We're 7 subscribers away from 50, and then I can do a live on my phone, a YouTube live, and we can talk all things fragrances. So if there's any you can recommend to me as well. But in terms of the week coming up, we're going to do another ChatGPT. He's going to rate my fragrance tomorrow. And yeah, I'll have a little think of which ones are going to be in the competition, and then we'll do a fitness workout and do a full review of that winner. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one today. I'm going to put on, which one am I going to wear? It's warm. Let's go Infinite Intense. Let's give this one a bit of credit. spicy. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.